Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic for October 24th, 2021. As always, I am your host, Lance Brock. Thank you for tuning in to this Sunday evening. On today's episode, I'm going to go over real quick last night's Saturday Night Dynamite and talk about last night's Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory pay-per-view. So that is all right here on this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. And let's gonna do a quick recap of last night's Saturday Night Dynamite, which is the last one now. Dynamite will be returning to Wednesday night this week for the special Halloween episode. We started off Bryan Danielson and Dustin Rhodes to start off the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament. And we see Bryan Danielson advance. I just want to say this one, I was a big fan of. Loved this match. And to start off the tournament for the AEW TBS Championship, we see Ruby Soho defeat Penelope Ford 8 minutes 30 seconds. Bobby Fish defeated Anthony Green 1 minute 54 seconds. And in another tournament match for the World Championship Eliminator Tournament, Eddie Kingston defeated Lance Archer 7 minutes 31 seconds. And there was a scary spot in this match where Lance Archer did a moonsault, landed right on his head, and that caused the match to be ended kind of suddenly. Jungle Boy defeated Brandon Cutler in 102. And in the main event of the evening, we see the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes defeat Malachi Black in 11 minutes 43 seconds. So that was Saturday Night Dynamite. And in my thoughts, my opinion was that it was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. I had some good wrestling on this one, especially Bryan Danielson and Dustin Rhodes. Hopefully Lance Archer is doing okay. Hopefully that injury wasn't too serious. Or at least I hope not. So let's just hope for the best. Now let's go on to Impact Wrestling, Bound for Glory. And we start things off in a tag team match for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Tag Team Championships. And it is the debuting Inspiration, Cassie Lee and Jess McKay, formerly known as the Iconics, taking on Decay, Rosemary, and Jessica Havoc. And we see, in my opinion, an upset new knockout tag team champions, the Inspiration, 8 minutes 59 seconds. I forgot to mention at the beginning though, the Inspiration was joined in their entrance by the singer of their theme song. And they're in the new music video too. And they do the backup vocals. You can check that out on YouTube if you haven't seen it already. But we have new knockout tag team champions, Inspiration. The Impact Wrestling X Division Championship is on the line next in a three-way match El Phantasmo, Steve Macklin, and Trey Miguel. Really good match here. I thought this one had some real exciting action in it. And it is Trey Miguel getting the win. 13 minutes, 27 seconds. 2 title matches, 2 title changes to start off Bound for Glory. And next, another tag team match, Violent by Design, taking on Heath. And it doesn't start off as a tag team match, but then he is joined by his tag team partner Rhino, as we see him here. And Rhino pins Diener. 5 minutes, 2 seconds. It is now time for the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. I'm sure everybody, especially if you're familiar with Impact Wrestling / TNA, knows the Gauntlet for the Gold. It's pretty much the Royal Rumble, and then when it gets down to 2 wrestlers in the ring, it is pinfall and submission to win it. And we start off entry number 1, because of his loss recently, Chris Sabin. And number 2, we have representing New Japan Pro Wrestling, Rocky Romero. Next up, we have Man Fulton, Rohit Raju, Tasha Steelz, Rachel Ellering, Savannah Evans, The Swingman, Johnny Swinger, Melina, and we have a surprise entrance. And this is one I'm sure nobody was expecting to show up. It is the Demon, Dale Torborg. In case for some reason nobody remembers the Demon, back in WCW, they worked with Kiss to make a wrestler. Did not work well at all. Did not go over very well. And then in 2007, I believe it was, he was working with Dale Torborg. I mean, he was working with the White Sox, and he still might be, actually. And he made an appearance with AJ Przinsky and was in a match at that year's Turning Point. And also Bobby the Brain Heenan made an appearance at that time. Next up is the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, Laredo Kid, Sam Beal, Rich Swann, Ace Austin, Moose, Eddie Edwards, and then right after him is his wife, Alicia Edwards. And then we already knew who the final entrant was, W. Morrissey. The final 2 in this one, Moose and Matt Cardona. It is Moose getting the victory and getting the title shot. Moose defeats Cardona, 29 minutes, 39 seconds. And now we have the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Championship match. The Bullet Club, Chris Bay and Kilolo, taking on Finjuice, the Good Brothers. And this one I thought was an okay match. I wouldn't say it was real great, but it wasn't too bad. The Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, retain. Like I said, good match here. Still tag team champions, the Good Brothers. Now it is time for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Championship. Deonna Purrazzo defending against Mickie James. And this match was a really good one here. And unfortunately, it is Mickie James defeating Deonna Purrazzo 13 minutes, 23 seconds. And the reason I say unfortunately is definitely nothing against Mickie James at all. Big fan of Mickie James. But I was just such a fan of this title run from Deonna Purrazzo. I wanted it to keep going. I think she is definitely one of the best women wrestlers in all of pro wrestling right now. Not just Impact, but all of pro wrestling, any company. That's just my opinion. You can agree with it, disagree with it if you want. But in my opinion, Deonna Purrazzo is one of the best, and not even just women's wrestling, one of the best performers in pro wrestling today. But I'm sure she'll get it back soon. And new Knockouts champion, Mickie James. It is now time for the main event of the evening. The Impact Wrestling World Championship match. Josh Alexander challenging Christian Cage. And this one was really good here. And great match. It is Josh Alexander getting the win to bring the title back home to Impact Wrestling. 18 minutes, 46 seconds. These two were great in that ring last night. After the match, Alexander celebrates with his wife and his son in the middle of the ring. But that celebration is cut short by the Call Your Shot winner, Moose, who cashes in his title shot right then and there, defeats Josh Alexander for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. This is definitely great heel heat from Moose. Ruined that feel-good moment. Josh Alexander in the ring, celebrating with his wife and his young son. I could see this January 8th, Hard to Kill, Impact Wrestling's next pay-per-view. I could see a rematch happening. Moose versus Josh Alexander. But we'll have to wait and see. Stay tuned to Impact Wrestling, whether you watch it on Access TV or the YouTube subscription thing they have. You're going to want to tune in to Impact Wrestling as we head for Hard to Kill. But before then, we have Turning Point next month, which is an Impact Plus special. And so overall, Bound for Glory, I thought it was a really good pay-per-view. And Sam's Town there in Las Vegas, I think, is a really good venue for wrestling. Impact has been there quite a few times now, and they're staying there for now, actually. They're having, I know tonight and tomorrow, I think they're having the Impact tapings, which Minoru Suzuki is going to be at. And after that, I'm not sure if they're going to, the next set of tapings are going to be there or not. But yes, like I said, it is a pretty good venue for wrestling. Other promotions have run shows there. Ring of Honor has ran pay-per-views. The anniversary show